Just last point about your vertigo and the ups and downs in your life. One of the most traumatic times in your life was probably when your daughter was kidnapped. Would you say that was...
That was it. She was 28 years old. It was a Monday night. Never forget that.
How did you handle that?
Well, I'd had dinner with my daughter and friends from Connecticut, and she was going home to her condo, and I was going home to my house. And I had taken some extra time to walk my friends back to their villa at the hotel. And I was driven home, and I was getting out of my car, and the car phone rang, and it was my daughter. And she said, "Daddy, I've been kidnapped." And she started crying, and a man took the phone away from her and says, "We have your daughter.
Good Lord.
If you do exactly what you say, we won't kill her. If you don't, you'll never see her alive again." And as it dawned on me that this wasn't a joke, it's very difficult to explain. It's not like TV. It's not something that's easy to relate secondhand.
Yeah.
But you experience what I guess is a form of hysteria. You know that we talk to ourselves with a voice in our head almost all of our lives, and that voice never changes. It doesn't get any older.
Right.
It's the same voice that was there when we were
Right.
16.
Right, right.
But that voice speeds up as if it was a record played at the wrong speed, as if you fast forwarded a tape. And you say, wait, whoa, whoa. And you get frightened. You don't look frightened. You sit still. You talk, and I lost my temper and said if anything happened to that child, I'd spend the rest of my life finding you, whoever that guy was.
So the first reaction was anger.
I was anger, and I said, I'll find you, if it takes the rest of my life. Right. And I'll make you curse your mother for being born so she can have you if you hurt that child. And my child was 28 years old at the time. He said, won't do you any good to get angry if you want to see this kid alive again. And then I settled right down and said, what do you want me to do? He said, I want you to go back to the hotel. Where are you? I told him I was at home, in my car, in my garage. He said, go back to the hotel. Don't call anybody, don't see anybody. But when you get to the hotel, go to the cashier's cage. It was really a scheme to rob the hotel, the Mirage.
Right, right.
Go to the cashier's cage, the place in the middle of the casino where you exchange your money. And you will get a phone call there, and you will be watched. So do what we say, and we'll give you back your girl. And I was wearing a pair of string pants and a Hawaiian shirt. It was summertime and hot in Las Vegas. And I went back, and the surveillance cameras in the casino chronicle my movements in front of the cage. I got to see myself after the fact.
Right.
And if you saw me walking back and forth, I looked like I just...
Oh, no.
But I remember that my kneecap was shaking, and I couldn't get it to stop.
Really?
The things you remember?
Yeah, yeah.
That my kneecap quivered, and all I could say is that if anything happens to this child, it'll be the end of my life and my wife's life.
Right.
And then all of a sudden the cage phone rang, and I went over, and he said, give me $1.5 million. And I took the money out of it. He says, and I said, well, I don't know if they have that much. He said, well, don't let anyone know what you're doing. I said, well, if you're watching me, there's people there. The cashiers were standing there.
Right, right.
He says, just do it with the manager. So I called the boy over, and his name was Robert. And I said, Robert, I just come close. He said, Robert, I want you to go to the back, a room we call the vault, where we keep extra cash, and tell me how much money we have there in $100 bills. Don't talk to anybody, just do what I tell you. He went back there, and he came back a minute later, and he said, $1,400,000. I said to the guy on the phone, $1.4 million. He said, well, don't you have more on the front of the cage? I said, do you want me to stop the girls and take it out of the drawer? There'll be bedlam here.
Right.
I may be chairman and chief executive of this company, but I can't walk up during swing shift on a Monday night and empty the cage. I mean, it's ridiculous. Are you mad? You're insane. He says, calm down.
You said, are you insane?
I'd ask him, are you insane?
You weren't just capitulating. You were like,
well, I mean, it was
you were
crazy.
engaging.
I mean, he first told me he wanted to be very cool about this and not let anybody know. Now all of a sudden he's saying, what about the people up front? Well, what I was going to do, tell every cashier, empty your drawers in a bag? It stopped the casino. And security would have come running.
Right.
And he said, okay, I'll take the $1.4 million. So I said to the kid, go back and get a shopping bag and put the $1,400,000. I remember that it was heavy. It was about this tall, and it was about as thick as a $10,000 bundle of $100 bills, like bricks. And it was so heavy it would break the shopping bag, so I had to carry the shopping bag like a baby.
So $1,400,000 fits in a shopping bag.
Yeah, it fit in a shopping bag. It's $10,000 bundles like a brick, so there were.
So did the manager know what was happening? Why you were asking?
No, it turns out it wasn't the manager; it was the assistant manager. The manager was on lunch. So it was 10:30 at night.
So he gives you 1.4 million.
I say to him, go, when I leave, go write a report of exactly what has happened, and give it to your manager when he comes back from lunch. And do not do anything about it till you hear from me. Okay. Write down everything. Do not talk to anybody that works for you. Do not call security. Do you understand me? Right. He said, yes, Mr. Wynn, I do. It was a young guy. His name was Robert. He was less than 30 years old. The other guy was on lunch break.
He must have been.
I had already had my driver send for one of my undercover security guys named Charlie. My driver is an African American who's my age. And Charlie is a former Chicago policeman who looks like my driver, but who's 35 years old and carries a gun. And I said, have Charlie stand by the cage, and you stay here, Albert, my driver's Albert, in my office, and have Charlie come and stand by me. And when I walk away from the cage, he should follow me. So we went from the cage through the atrium where it was very crowded. And as he came up next to me, I whispered in his ear, he said, Mr. Wynn, what's going on? I know something's wrong. I said, Charlie, my daughter's been kidnapped. He says, oh no. I said, now listen, I'm going to need you to drop this money off. Are you carrying, meaning are you carrying a weapon? Are you carrying? He says, yes. I said, you're going to leave it in my office. There's not going to be any heroics. We're not going to have any shoot-ems.
First get my daughter back.
We're just going to drop the money off and get the girl back. And I don't want Albert to do it. I want you to do it. Now, you don't have to do it, Charlie. It's up to you. He says, I'm going to do it. You sure I can't take my gun? I said, I don't want you to take my gun. Because I know you, Charlie. You'll try and shoot somebody. I don't want you to do that. I just want to give him the money. We're insured. We went to my office, and my driver was there. My phone rang. And he said, bring the money. And there was a bar across the street and a 7-Eleven convenience store. He wanted the car to go over there. He wanted the money on the front seat of my Mercedes. He wanted the doors unlocked and the windows open. He wanted the money on the front seat in a bag. And he wanted the driver. Oh, he wanted me to come. I said, well, if you know, I don't drive at night because of my eyes. So I come with my driver, or I send my driver alone. He said, send your driver. And then have him go sit down in the convenience store and leave the car in front of the bar. The bar was next to the
doors open and the money.
Windows down, doors unlocked.
Oh, unlocked, right.
My Charlie drove the Mercedes, got out in front of the bar, left the car right where he was supposed to, and then walked over to the 7-Eleven. I asked him later what he saw. He said he saw a guy with gray hair, a short guy, walk out of the bar, reach into the car, pick up the bag, and walk away. And then I got a phone call 2 hours later.
2 hours you had to wait.
Well, the whole thing took till about 2 in the morning to go to the parking lot at McCarran Airport in Las Vegas, to the oversized parking where you'd leave a van or something of that sort. And they said, go through the gate to the oversized parking, take a left, go to the last row. You'll see your daughter's Audi parked there. She's tied up on the back seat of the car. She's safe. Thank you for cooperation. Sorry to put you through this. Click.
Thank you for cooperation.
Sorry to put you through it. This moron said this to me. He's in federal penitentiary now, serving.
You got him eventually.
Oh, we got him.
Good for you.
The cops got him before we did.
Right. But you remember like every
it's the kind of thing. It might as well be tattooed on your brain. And I went and I remember getting. I had one of my colleagues who ran the Mirage with me, Bobby Baldwin, drive the car. And I got to where I could see her car. And I said, stop, I'll go. And I got halfway to her car, maybe I was 50 feet away, 15, 20 meters away, and I didn't have enough nerve to look.
Really?
So I shouted her name, Kevin. I just was frightened.
Right, yeah.
I said, Kevin,
right.
God forbid she had been injured.
Yeah.
Or something worse.
Yeah.
I yelled, Kevin. She said, Daddy, is that you?
That was the moment, right. Oh.
I ran over and I remember fingerprints. She was in the back seat. So I took my shirt and I pushed a button, and then I opened the door by putting my finger in the jamb, and I told her, don't touch anything. And I picked her up and pulled her out. And I put her in the other car. And I called the FBI director, Randy Prelliman, and he said, you're doing the right thing, get the girl. I didn't tell the FBI about the calls until after I was going to get her.
So the whole thing was... Yeah.
And I said, Randy, did I do the right thing? He says, we would have told you to do what they tell you to do, get the girl.
Right.
We'll get the guy, you get the girl.
Right.
So you did the right thing. So, but he said, Steve, when you get your daughter, don't talk to her. Let us do the debriefing.
Oh, really?
It's very important to let us do it.
Okay.
We have a way of doing this.
Right.
And we do it 2 or 3 times. Believe it or not, when they've been traumatized, they remember things that they don't think they remember.
Right.
So don't you start. We're going to have a professional. Right. We'll meet you at your hotel.
It's good advice. Actually.
Well, we're in the car going from the airport to the hotel. Is a 10-minute drive in Las Vegas. And Kevin says, Daddy, I have something to tell you. Oh, first I called my wife.
I told her everything's...
She said, where are you? What's going on for 3.5 hours?
Oh, she didn't know anything about this?
No, okay. I didn't tell her. And I remember saying, Kevin is sitting next to me. She's fine. Why is Kevin sitting next to you? And then I said, she was kidnapped. And you could hear on the other end of the phone that you might as well have just punched her like a thump. What? She's fine. She's sitting next to me here. And I gave her the phone. She said, Mom, I'm fine. And Elaine said, I'm coming. I said, no, you're not. I sent a car for you. Because I didn't want her to drive. She'll get in an accident.
Right, exactly.
I'd already sent a car to the house. But my daughter says, I need to talk to you, Dad. I said, the FBI wants you to wait. She said, no, listen to me. The guy that took me to the airport made a mistake. And he went the wrong way and went up into the garage. And he had to go all the way to the top on the helix and down again. And he went through the ticket paying place where there was a woman with me in the back seat. And a woman saw the driver. And she's back there at the airport. What's a good thing she told me.
Right.
I immediately stopped the car, called the FBI and said, go get the woman that's working at the ticket. Right. There's a ticket with the guy's fingerprints. He went in and out. Plus they take photographs of all the cars, license plate that go into the garage. The FBI ran right over. They grabbed the lady that was the ticket lady because she remembered what the guy looked like. She also had the tickets, and we also had the photograph.
So that made a huge difference.
Oh, yeah. Right. And it's a good thing my daughter told me, because she knew that that was a key piece of information,
Right,
that the
right.
driver had gone to the wrong place. Then he went to the oversized parking.
Right.
The dummy went to the wrong place.
And that made it, these are the
Yes.
mistakes that get them.
So anyway, it took them 4 or 5 days to identify who did it with telephone, credit cards, and other information.